Hey, BIS 301. I wanted to talk to you guys about the like a review of the worksheet regarding the types of disciplinarity. Okay, if you got a great score on it or you're happy with your score, you don't want to watch this video, well, you don't have to. If you struggled with it or if you have some questions and concerns, let me do a little follow up on this, okay? I took some notes, obviously. There were some consistent mistakes, which has me always questioning then how I present the material. However, I did go over and how we reviewed it and how we looked at the readings by Meath especially. Um, First, I think if you look at the instructions I had on there, I wrote, remember what a discipline is, and conversely, what it is not. A discipline is not a profession. For example, mathematician is not a discipline. Mathematics is a discipline. A politician is not a discipline. Political science is a discipline, etc., etc. Okay? Remember that when differentiating between disciplines and professions, which represent particular disciplines, also when using a discipline as a proper noun, it needs to be capitalized. Okay, so just a couple of issues right there with some people had trouble because they didn't list any disciplines in their types of disciplinarity, which kind of is odd because disciplines, okay? You needed to use that. I didn't want people to skip over the, uh, uh, the discipline for some occupation, okay? Um, all right, so I also wrote in the instructions for the exercise below, you may identify professions, but you must include the discipline they represent as well. I want you to develop your competency in identifying disciplinarity in society. Doing so will increase your competency in identifying issues, careers, and problems requiring interdisciplinary thinking. Okay, so we had that issue there of a lot of occupations and not a lot of disciplines for some, okay? And you were deducted accordingly. All right, also capitalize the disciplines, okay? That way we know they're important, okay? Um, all right, the topic was domestic terrorism. All your hypothetical committees should have stayed on that topic. They didn't, and many of you just kind of went on your own way. I deducted for that. Some of you posted in a Word doc. It's a discussion board. You don't have to do that. I don't want you to do that. I want it to be discussion board. Excuse me. People have a tendency to not respond to your work if they have to open it up, download it. It's a discussion board, okay? So you don't do that. Also, it's a discussion board with questions, okay, that I need your response to. Do not give me a narrative, essay, single paragraph jammed together and put me on a Where's Waldo search where I've got to look for the answers to the questions. I've got to then look and say, oh, does this question just end one answer and start another one? If I'm giving you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, don't just give me one. All right. Do not like single paragraphs when there's. Even if you're going to do a narrative essay, at least break it up into paragraphs. Okay. All right. So also looking at well, let me just say this: if you don't understand something, reach out and ask me. Okay, send me an email. All right, because some of you admitted right in your work that you didn't understand it. It's one thing if you try, you think you got it, but maybe you don't. It's another thing if you know you don't have it, or you feel so uncomfortable that you're just kind of guessing, and you're not asking about it. Granted, we're online, but I am a real person. I have a iPhone X, and I am on campus 2 days a week, and you can call me. All right, so don't spin your wheels. Don't just guess, and don't just shrug it off. I think you can get this. It's important foundational material. So, looking at some of the issues, and maybe it's the way it's written, I noticed that when Meath discussed the interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary, he considered it levels, and the pyramid shows that it's in levels. It's not a value judgment, though. It's not that interdisciplinary study is better than multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary is not better than cross, and etc. And it's not that transdisciplinary is the best. Okay, it's not. Each one has their strengths and their challenges. Okay, it's a pyramid. More likely, I think it's a pyramid based on how often you'll find it. I mean, disciplinary thinking that's the foundation for everything. It's how universities are broken up to mainly, and academics. Above that, like I said, is just levels of how the disciplines interact or how they don't interact, and each one of those has specific qualities. But it's not a value judgment, okay? So, talk about intradisciplinary, and that's pretty much the easy one, right? One discipline. One discipline. So it could be a committee of 10 political scientists. That's it. You're talking about political science, okay? Or it could be 10 politicians whose academic training is in political science. But it's one discipline. Cross-disciplinary is the act of analyzing or working from the point of view of a particular discipline that's not the disciplinary area of the person or the committee. So, it's like looking at have a committee of, let's say, law enforcement people who are specializing in criminology and law, but they're looking at the religious aspect of domestic terrorism, okay? So they're looking at it through a different lens, right? Multidisciplinary, it's simple. It's each committee member has a different discipline, and they're presenting their solutions to the issue, okay? The religious studies, academic, the criminology, academic, political science, regional studies even, which is all interdisciplinary, but each one is just presenting in a committee form. Again, all these can be individuals too. Like you and I, we have our concentrations, and we try to know about 2 concentrations. It allows us to exercise our interdisciplinary competency. Moving up to interdisciplinary then, of course, it's the same would be the same committee as multidisciplinary, except people would be working together to find common ground, to break down the disciplinary barriers, to find commonalities in language, or to translate different concepts and theories between I'm freezing out here, between the disciplines, okay? And then transdisciplinary, to go beyond the disciplines. That could be more where occupations might be featured. You might have in a committee like domestic terrorism, you might bring in victims, families or victims, or you might bring in business people, shop owners, anything like that would be beyond the disciplines. We would be talking about disciplines then, okay? So what I'm going to ask you to do is get a hold of me if you don't understand something. Okay, I also want you to get a hold of me if I gave you a grade that you don't like and that you don't think you deserve. I want you to tell me why you don't deserve it and let me review it, okay? All right, none of this stuff, I'm not chiseling this in stone, okay? This is my impression. I had about 100 of these to read on my classes, and so if I miss something, let me know, okay? I'd be happy to review it. I'd be happy to go over it with you, okay? Other than that, I think that's clear. I'm going to do a Module 3 preview. I didn't want to piggyback it on here because this one's going too long as it is. 11 minutes. But I'm going to do a Module 3 preview, but I might not do it till Wednesday, okay? Because I'm really tight on my schedule. If you have any questions about anything in Module 3, let me know. In the meantime, the readings are pretty much self-explanatory and such. But I really want to get into some details. If you're jumping ahead and thinking about your doing the intellectual autobiography, I think, right? Just we'll talk about that, okay? Or I think that's And all right, I'm gonna do the preview, okay? I'll probably post them both today yet, okay? Thanks, you guys. Remember to get a hold of me if you have any issues, okay? I don't want to come across as a big tyrant when it comes to scoring these things, but I think we get on the same page, we're going to be fine, all right? All right, talk to you soon.